going up. I mean, it's skyrocketed. So $600 pension, 1050. Won't find much anything here today.
And why the millennial generation is starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
Million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And ignore him. 8 more years goes by until Bernie himself finally gets to stay up and running a Ponzi scheme.
Because its dominance means it can use the alliance for its own ends.
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability.
All right, we are live, RTD Live Talk, Wednesday night, the 18th day of the month of July. And I'm excited to have a guest join us this evening to share his thoughts and experiences on this economy, as well as share with us some insights into the crypto space. And so once my video comes up here,
right,
side effects of technology. Still trying to iron out the kinks as always, but there I go. Okay, we're live now. So welcome to RTD Live Talk, Wednesday night. It's 9:34, 4 minutes past 9:30, but we're going to get it in tonight and have some fun. So I'm excited to have a guest join us. And so this is my very first guest that's tuning in, that's going to share with us some experience from the crypto sector. And so I have Mr. Brandon Kelly, Mr. a.k.a. BK Cryptotrader, joining us this evening. So he's going to share his thoughts and opinions on the crypto sector, as well as the economy and how it's all related. So I'm excited to get some thoughts and inputs. And as always, I have a number 833-LIVE-RTD that you guys can call in and ask any questions in regards to the economy or the crypto sector. And we'll try to get some answers to you and help you and position you rather to be able to thrive and prosper in this uncertain times we're in. But let's go right to Brandon. So Brandon Kelly, welcome to RTD Live Talk, my friend.
Thank you, sir. It's it's a privilege, I think, to be on your show. I've been following your channel for a while, and I appreciate all the insight and knowledge that you're given to the YouTube space with regards to economics and even the innovation on the blockchain. So I'm happy to be able to come on and collaborate with you.
My man, appreciate you. Thanks for that love there. So let's get into the very basics of it for those and for my viewership that may not know who Brandon Kelly is. Let's go back a little bit. Give us some of your background, how you've arrived at this point, because BK is all over the internet, social media wise, as well as YouTube. And so give us some background as to how you arrived at this current point in the crypto area and what led you to this point and things like that.
Yeah. So 2015, I graduated from the University of Notre Dame. I got my MBA in business and marketing, entrepreneurship, and, took a big job with a big bank. And, I was living a dream, paycheck to paycheck, 6 figures, giving it all away to the state of California. And, I was like a rat in a wheel. It was never enough money at the end of the month. And even though I was making money, I was spending money, and I still didn't understand how to make my money work for me and not vice versa. So at the time I was investing in the stock market. I was watching, I was working from home. So I was watching CNBC every day, 6 hours a day on loop. And what I noticed is they would tell me about 15 different ways I lost money, but not one way to be proactive in making money. Yeah. And all the while, I knew about Bitcoin. I didn't have any money in it. I ended up losing money in the stock market, and I saw the price of Bitcoin double. And at that point, I was like, I need to learn. I need to, put my money over here and learn what it actually worked. What's happening over there? What is the blockchain? What is decentralized protocols? What is, the ASIC script? What does that look like? And that's what it is. I think that's the biggest burden on a lot of people is the process of learning. And that was the choice I had to make. I literally had to relearn how I thought money was, what I thought money was, how economics actually worked. And it was ironic because I was working for a bank at the time, actually working at the time on a big marketing program for a credit card company, and, literally keeping people in perpetual servitude. And that was not something that, I wanted to do. That was not something that I had a lot of value in, but I saw the blockchain as an opportunity to kind of, get away from that road, right, and begin a journey down a new road, and that's kind of my path into getting on the blockchain. And once I did and I saw what it was, I just jumped in it with both feet and started trading cryptos at that point. Back then, it was only two cryptos. It was Bitcoin and Ethereum, so it was pretty, I only had a couple options, and I remember I would just sit on my phone and slide my finger back across on Coinbase little chart there to look at the support. It was trading between $400, $500. I would, buy it at like 480 and sell it at 620. And I did that like 2 or 3 different times. And then it broke out and went up to like 800, but by that time I'd grown pretty confident with, moving money back and forth. TradingView finally released cryptocurrency on their charting website. And so I could finally pull up a chart and draw on it to try to understand how the different market psychologies were working. And once they did that, I went back to school. I sat in front of my computer for about 3 months every day to learn how the market worked and how I could make money in the market and how I could beat the market. And ultimately, that's what I ended up putting together with the boss method. And that's what I make videos on for my channel on YouTube.
Right. Good explanation there. I got a little feedback. Let me. All right. So my question I wanted to ask you was, a lot of people in this alternative media space, especially me initially, and so I look at the cryptocurrency sector in two different methods. It's a very innovative and useful technology that will be utilized. So I'm not in denial saying that it's something that is not going to be valuable for our future. But then on the other side, I'm very skeptical from a monetary standpoint in the idea that it came about, out of nowhere. Some people say it came about from some NSA paper back in the 1990s. And so you have a lot of conspiracy type of ideas about how it arrived. But yet I find it very not coincidental that it happened at the right time where our economy is crumbling. So my question to you is the origin of the whole cryptocurrency and blockchain something that has ever concerned you, or something that you were a little bit leery at first, or what are your thoughts on that? The origins of it?
Yeah, man. I think some of the best things are still, opaque and not all the way figured out. But I think that's the beauty of it. I think therein lies the opportunity. I do understand. Put it this way. I worked for a big bank and I was on track to be one of the top, leaders of that business. I understand how big financial institutions work. I saw what we did, and I saw firsthand how much we sucked. It was laughable at how bad we were at handling our own business and handling other people's money. We were still using software from the 90s. And so the door was open. The opportunity was present for a new process to completely wipe off the businesses that stood before it. In business school, they call that a destructive innovation, right? Where one thing happens, lightning strikes, and the whole world is changed forever. And I think that's what the white paper that Satoshi Nakamoto released. Now, who is Satoshi Nakamoto? To be quite honest, I don't know. I haven't put too much energy into trying to figure out who he was. I think it's irrelevant. He could be my next door neighbor. I would never know. And I don't need to know. All I know is that the idea that he gave to the world, known as peer-to-peer transmission through a decentralized protocol on a blockchain, is what we've embraced, we've adopted, and what we have shown value to, in so much as it's been partitioned to about $7,000 per square unit now. And we call that unit of Bitcoin. But that's literally all it is. It's a network of value, and the world values it so much that each little piece of the network is worth $7,000.
Yeah. Now, another question I want to ask you is in regards to the whole banking sector, because you said the banking, in reference to the company you work for, you said they sucked or something like that. So my question is, do you think that we are reaching a point where banks are or will become irrelevant in the fact that the idea of actually keeping your funds in the bank is no longer A, a smart idea, or B, not a necessity because of this technology?
Right. Yeah. Both. And I think they know that too.
Yeah.
There behind the scenes is a huge migration of technology, of insight, of resources. You get a letter now, it has a QR code on it. You go and pay at Starbucks on your little phone, you're paying with a QR code.
Yeah.
You know, every QR code, whether it is today or whether it's not, can be linked and stacked right on top of a blockchain. And so everything we do, all these huge, you know, cross distribution systems will be reintegrated onto the blockchain. And so everybody, you know, a lot of financial experts, they say the value of Bitcoin is not Bitcoin, it's the blockchain. Well, it's hard to use one without the other because they're a tandem pair. So the more value that the blockchain has, the more value that Bitcoin has, because it's the longest standing proof of work, working protocol on that network, on that concept. Now, once we build out all these different blockchain protocols they talk about with Hashgraph and, you know, some of these third generation concepts, then, you know, maybe Bitcoin will have some legitimate competition. But for now, Bitcoin is the gateway to every other cryptocurrency. You go from dollars to Bitcoin, and then from Bitcoin to the rest of the cryptoverse, right? Bitcoin is the sun. It transmits energy to that entire ecosystem. And, you know, it will always have value as long as the blockchain has value, because they're a tandem pair.
Yeah. Now, one thing I want to, because you mentioned blockchains. And so the fact that it looks like, just from my knowledge of following cryptocurrency space, that every coin or company or anyone who has an idea now is looking to monetize it, as far as it establishing their own blockchain and then coming up with some type of coin or token off of that. Now, do you think that the current trend we're on now, as far as all those ICOs that were, you know, that came out in 2017, I see reports mentioning that a lot of those things were scams. So do you think we are currently on track to have a more solid foundation of coins, ideally the ones in the top 50 or 100 on a market cap, being stable and being around for a while? Or do you think it's still room for stuff to fluctuate and projects that have yet to come out that might be, is there anything that can be bigger than Bitcoin eventually, in your opinion?
Yes. Real quick, I think it's ironic that, again, self-proclaimed financial experts on television and the financial industry can call something a scam when essentially they've been scamming the world since that creature crawled out from Jekyll Island. But now that the world has another option, now they're in our best interest. They're trying to protect us. They're, you know, they say, no. Look at this person. They got robbed. Look at this person. They bought drugs. Look at this person. You know, look at this country. It's always some detrimental psychological association. And that's when you got to stop. And that's when you got to look around. And that's when you got to say, okay, I've been using dollars my whole life. Everybody I know has been using dollars their whole life. You're from Detroit. I'm from Cleveland. I can't name one millionaire I know personally in my hometown, right? And that's because dollars are designed to keep us in a constant state of spending. This is just the basic laws of the economics that the system runs on. They call it fractional reserve lending. I call it cacostocratic capitalism and extortion. Either way, it's just people never have enough month at the end. They never have enough money at the end of the month. And now we have the opportunity to transfer our transmission of value onto the blockchain. And so, yes, there are different protocols and different companies that are complete BS, right? But there are some that are literally changing the world. And so what I recommend, and you can look at it almost as the app store on iTunes. iTunes got, I didn't even count them, but I think they got almost 100 million different apps. Do you have everyone on your phone?
No.
Do you think every one of those apps has any value?
No, some of them are garbage.
Exactly. Let the market figure all of that out, and the market will determine what's valuable and what's not. The cream always rises to the top. And that's where I trade at, right? Even if you just use the Pareto effect, the 80-20 effect, and say that 80% of the value comes from 20% of the population, say it's 1,000 coins on the blockchain, on CoinMarketCap, 1,000 coins. Well, technically, we should only looking at the top 20%. So now we just narrowed our list down to the top 200 coins. But since we want to reduce our risk, we understand the R squared and 99th percentile, P.05, all that good stuff. Let's square it again. So let's take the 80th percentile of that 200 coins. Now we're only looking at 40 to 50 coins.
Yeah.
Now all those garbage coins on page 8, page 9 of CoinMarketCap, you kicked out, you know? And when you deal with the top of the money, you've mitigated all of that risk, all of that uncertainty, and all of that doubt, and you've actually streamlined your path to be, you know, financially in control. Because now you can decide when you want to jump in and jump out versus just rolling the dice on, you know, oh, I heard this was going to be the next Bitcoin. You know? And now we let the market pay us and not try to get paid from the market.
Right. Good point there, man. Good point. So for those that are tuning in and just joining us, I have Brandon Kelly, BK Cryptotrader, joining us. And so I figured that it'd be a great time just to explore someone who's knowledgeable in the crypto sector to get his thoughts on where we're at and where we're heading. And as well as he's a trader. So for those in the audience that are interested in hearing about some things that might have potential, long-term potential, as well as being a great opportunity to get in now, because I am a firm believer that we are basically at ground zero still in comparison to where this thing is going. So, Brandon, my next question is going to be: there's a lot of people out here in this alternative media space that spend a lot of time either predicting or using a variety of methodology to come up with what they can consider pricing, you know, for the future. So we have a lot of people who do like psychics. We have analysts that actually know what they do when it comes to charting graphs. We have people who have different types of bots and stuff like that out there. So you have a unique method in which you trade. Share with us a little bit on how do you come up with your methodology for trading, and how has it been going for you thus far in your career?
Awesome. Well, yes. Again, I think this is the opportunity, not necessarily to single out one failure or success, but to understand that every incremental, incidental occurrence is interrelated to determining the overall path of success. This is what a free market is. This is what a free market looks like. People forget that every single one of those candles on that chart, red or green, is actually made up of about tens of thousands of individual isolated transactions, right? This is what my method capitalizes on, that individually we are all inherently biased. We're flawed, we're greedy, we're selfish, we're fearful, we're loving. All these beautiful things that make us human also keep us over guarded and protected of our money. We're very fearful, or we're very joyous. It's always polarized. This is where the concept of the yin and yang come. Energy always rotates around itself in perpetuity. And ultimately, all we need to know as traders in the market is one of two things. Do you need to buy it, or do you need to sell it? It's going to go up, or is it going to go down? That's literally it. All that other stuff is irrelevant. And so again, just the same as, you know, I walked you through the process of mitigating your risk by about 99% in the crypto market. We do the same thing on the charts with a simple moving average, to where with 3 simple moving averages, a 7, a 77, and a 231, you can almost knock out 90% of the risk in the market and capitalize 3-to-1 on any future positive momentum. And that's what we do.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about where we're at now. And so just as of yesterday, especially, so when yesterday jumped off with all those greens in the cryptocurrency space, I'm like, man, it's going to be a great time having Brandon on. He can share with us his thoughts, his insight. And so a lot of people say that by the end of this year, we're going to reach probably some new all-time highs in comparison to what it was last December. And so what are your thoughts on what are you seeing as far as chart-wise? Is this the beginning of something, or we still got more time to go in the crypto sector or whatnot?
Yeah, so I think this is definitely the beginning of a positive cycle. Am I able to screen share with you? I can walk you through just a general Bitcoin chart that I've done a few times now, but I think for the purpose of our call, it would hold some value.
Go ahead.
Let me see real quick. I used to put some time in on this Google Hangouts back in the day, you know, when I first started, bring back some memories. So here we go. This is Bitcoin to the dollar, right? Same chart everybody been looking at for 6 months, wondering what's going to happen next. So my method, again, is 3 simple moving averages. The white is a 7, the blue is a 77, and the columns behind it are a 231. Right. And to be honest, 9 out of 10 times, you can even turn the columns off to where you're literally just looking at 2 moving averages, the 7 and the 77. And my rule, the only rule you need to know, you know, when the white goes above, that's when you buy it. When it goes below, it's got to go. If it's not paying, it's not staying. And the momentum of the market basically maximizes your reward and minimizes your risk at any given time, right? Every time you trade the 7 and 77, it's about an 80% chance of you winning money on that trade. Now we bring the 231 in, and this is the granddaddy of them all. This is the macro market. These are the billionaires, the institutions, the whales. These are the Buffetts, the ones that don't move their money every day. They let it sit there, right? And that's why it's a lot slower. It's a lot more methodical. They'll take a loss in the beginning, right? They'll take that loss knowing that they made all of that gain. You see that? That's no variance. They only move their direction about once or twice a year because they have so much money. Imagine an 18-wheeler trying to back up, right? It doesn't work, right? And so they pick one direction. That's the direction that they go. But what we see over time, you know, is that the 231 has basically driven this entire market. Why is that?
Now let me ask you a question. So with the 7, the 77, 231, how did that come about? Or what exactly? Break that down as to what exactly are those numbers you're using? Referring.
This is how it works. When you go to the casino, the dice game, and you jump on that the roulette table, what's the numbers that win?
I have no idea. I don't gamble.
Smart man. I wish I was as smart as you growing up. 7 and 11 are the 2 numbers that pay out, right? And I'm trying to let me put this thing back on me real quick. There we go. 7 and 11 are the numbers that pay out. Can you see me? You see me?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I see you.
All right. And so, but it's a reason for that. I learned this a long time ago on one of them little public school, little PBS math shows. It's when they actually taught you math back then. They said it's actually an algorithm to where they're prime numbers. And so when you multiply them together, you get this factor tree to where you can actually build logic, chain logic, occurrences on that factor tree. And so when you combine 7 and 11, the outcomes, although they seem random, they're actually not random because, first of all, they're both prime numbers. So when you multiply them together, the product is going to be, you know, a prime compiled number, which means it has more structure to it. And this is where you start to get into the metaphysics of mathematics. But then again, we weren't actually taught this kind of stuff. We have to understand that a lot of this information has been intentionally not freely given to the world. But I have a very good memory, and I distinctly remember seeing that 7 and 11 were a mathematical family tree. And so I understand with momentum, the number 7 in itself, you have 3 on this side, 3 on this side, 1 in the middle, to where any number that comes in contact with 7 has to make a choice. And that's what I'm doing. I'm polarizing the market. I'm dividing it. I'm making the market play by my rules, my system, my game, not vice versa. Me trying to figure out a crazy market in a crazy world. You'll never be able to do it. And so I divide the market into my logic. I polarize it from the beginning. And then the 7 and 77 is 7 times 11 gives you 77. So now it's like you have 2 different strings, one quick, one medium, right? And then the 231 is, I believe, actually the 343 is the minute hand that I use. That's 7 times 7 times 7. So I use a 7 times 7 and a 77 on a 343. And now I've just cubed all of the energy in the market to agree by the rules of the universe that I created on that chart. And, you know, that's kind of how it works, because mathematically you can make anything. You are the ruler of your own world if you mathematically know how to define it. And so that's all I did is, you know, with this chart, you know, I drew up my little rules and I say, okay, go play by these rules. And now that's how the market plays on my chart.
Now, how long have you been using this particular method that you've used, and has it been really successful for you, and has it been on point, or has it been average-wise? Has it been legit?
It's the truth. I encourage people out there to try to break it. You know, I learned from one of my mentors at the University of Notre Dame was Chris Stevens. He was the CEO, the founder of Keurig, the coffee, you know, one button hot cup of coffee. He said simpler is better. And the more simple you can make something, the more value people will have for it. And that's what I did. I tried to make the simplest method possible to get the lowest risk and the highest reward. And so I extend that challenge to anybody listening to this. Please break it. Prove me wrong, because I'm pulling a lot of esoteric understanding into this thing. And so if it's wrong, I'd like to know now, you know what I'm saying, before I keep going with it. But a lot of people have made a lot of money with it.
And the biggest thing, if it's working and if you're making money from it, then, you know, if it's wrong, I wouldn't. I mean, what does it say? If it's right, I don't want to be wrong, or whatever. Right. If it's making money, then it makes sense. So put like that. The hell with somebody proving it wrong. But go ahead, continue showing us some of those charts there.
Yeah. At the end of the day, what we're doing is we are limiting our exposure to the market with this method. We are only putting our money on the table when the market is paying us to have it there. Think about a casino floor, right? You walk into a casino, any given casino, they have about 100 different games on the floor. You only want to put your money on the table if the dealer is hot. You know, if the dealer ain't hot, take your money up, go find another table. Most people sit at that table, say, I'm gonna beat this dealer. That's stupid. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's why they go broke on one dealer, on one table. They don't want to get up. And so that's all we do is we polarize the market to make us money when we have our money on the table. The minute, and I'm talking about the minute that thing goes under, we get out, right? And now you see what happened. It went down about 2 or 3%, but then it came right back. We buy it right back there. You know what I'm saying? And so what that does is we actually saved 11% because it wasn't certain. Once it broke, it's no certainty that it's going to come back. But the biggest thing that we missed during that window was we missed the risk, all of the risk, and this block of time right there. The minute it goes below, like I say, it's 100 casino tables out there with hot dealers. We could have put our money somewhere else, right? Yeah. And so that's essentially what Bitcoin has been at for the past couple months. Is technically we shouldn't have been in it, you know. Following this method, We should have cashed out 16.8, 16.5, and you know, been good. And it's all about momentum.
How far does this chart go out to where you're able to? So like, because what I'm seeing here is everything behind. Now, are you able to go forward and see what might come about according to that blue line there?
Yes. So theoretically, let's just play this thing out. Let's just do our little buy and sell points. Boom, boom, boom. And this is the one of the bad parts about the market is a lot of people bought up there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people bought up there, lost a lot of money by design. They did it right between Thanksgiving and Christmas when they knew everybody was going to be telling everybody they knew about Bitcoin. Bam! Pulled the rug from under us, you know. But the good news is we have that, right? And that's a big swing point. That was a big swing point right there, going at 6,800. And on all of my videos, I said every day we're above 6,800 is a good day. Now, keep in mind, I was talking about the white line, right? The white line, not necessarily a candle. And that's the difference. The white line is a 7-day moving average. So it actually takes 7 candles, averages them, and just smooths out the relationship, right? And so we don't have as much of the variance, the velocity, the, you know, discontinuity that a lot of the market has, because I'm literally looking at one line, right? Is that line above or is it below? Right now it's above. Guess what? Buy. Because now we have the momentum of the market behind us. And what you asked earlier, if we're able to predicate future returns, yes, we can. This is what I do with my sine wave line down here. You can literally just draw kind of like a relationship like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally works. You know, it's literally just that easy to where this was all positive energy. This is all negative energy. It bottomed out right there. That's going to be positive energy.
Interesting. So the idea that it's going to be positive coming up plays into the idea that right now a lot of people are predicting that, you know, the next couple months and this August, and you have the Bitcoin ETF. So let's touch on that Bitcoin ETF. I'm sure you stay tuned to all those things.
Yeah.
Bitcoin ETF is coming out, you know, trying to get that institutional money involved. Could that be the reason why that boy could be kind of promising heading up a little bit, or what?
Yeah. All of this stuff. And that's where we start to get into this thing right here. You know what I'm saying? The seed of life, the flower of life. We as humans always want to pinpoint one reason or one justification for an outcome. 1 + 1 = 2. I know 1, I know 1, I know 2. You know what I'm saying? But actually, in order for 1 + 1 = 2, there's actually 3, a relationship between all 3 of them that says 1 + 1 = 2, right? And so there will always be some event that people point to and say that's the reason that happened. When in all actuality, everything is interconnected. Everything plays a part in everything happening. All we try to do is determine the polarity of it. Is it positive or is it negative, right? We don't need to figure out the frequency. All we need to know is positive or negative. This is what Tesla talked about. He said, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency and vibration. Well, frequency, in order for any radio wave to be transmitted, any given distance, there has to be a transmitter and a receiver. Frequency goes in between them. Positive, negative, right? Male end of the cord plugged into the female end of the wall, bam, you got energy. Yeah. And so, yes, the ETF thing, all of that good stuff, all of that is happening because that's what needs to happen in order for the energy to fill out. You know what I'm saying? But keep in mind, over the past 3 months, there have probably been more positive incidents for crypto that have gone unreported and unnoticed because now is not the season to be positive in crypto. Right. But all of those individual isolated events have played into the part that now the bigger events can come and they will gain the momentum they need to escalate Bitcoin to the next level in the charts, you know?
Yeah. Good point. Now, watch this. So, for those that are tuning in, I have Brandon Kelly, BK Cryptotrader, joining us. So, as always, if anyone wants to call in and ask any questions directly, 833 Live RTD is the number. And so, Brandon, I actually want to get to some questions in the chat over here, and because they are going to be pretty much crypto related. And so, give you an idea what's going on here. It says, in regards to, okay, one of the biggest things that was kind of unclear is the whole tax situation. And so, being a trader,
what is it?
The whole taxes when it comes to taxes. I remember. Extortion? No, who extortion? Yeah. at the end of the day, yeah.
Okay, let's just change those words.
And that's one thing that has been very suspect and questionable because there's been no clearly defined rules on that extortion aspect.
Yep.
And all that stuff. So share with us some because you're as a trader. You move a lot. You got a lot of activity as opposed to buying and holding in the capital gains aspect. And I heard about you got to hold it for longer than a year to get a better rate. Share with us what's happening with all that.
Yeah, man. It's the Wild Wild West. The rules are still being written. But rest assured, the people not on a cowboy riding out getting their own resources won't have anything once the sheriff show up. You know. And so the reason these laws have not come around is because banks control 98% of the money in crypto.
Yeah.
And so why would they write laws to incriminate themselves when they're the ones sending the money back and forth across the blockchain? I ain't got no money. You ain't got no money. People listening ain't got no money. People are broke.
Yeah.
Institutions have the money. Corporations have the money. Countries have the money. And that's all on the blockchain right now. They have 98% of all the money. And so, you know, how much money did GE pay in taxes last year?
None, probably.
Zero.
None there.
So why are your broke listeners asking about taxes?
Hey, that's the thing. Most people love to find the negatives out of a situation that could be beneficial for them. And so it's just a matter, I guess, covering all angles.
Right.
And it's more so geared towards trying to prove someone wrong or to show that more likely because they were not an early adopter and they're getting in latest.
Right. This is the reality of the situation. This is what a cacostocratic capitalist society looks like. Banks siphon all the money from everybody. Banks lobby with super PACs to pay for politicians. Politicians then go and write the laws.
Yeah.
So if the banks got all the money and ain't no laws been written, what do that mean? You know what I'm saying? That means the banks don't want the laws written. Why? Because they're benefiting from the way it is right now. And so people have to understand that if that's the system you value, well, then keep paying into it. You're doing a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. That says a lot there. Now, as far as I'm interested because I just share with you a little bit of my background because on my channel, for those that have tuned in, those that are tuning in now, I really never go into great in-depth discussion into the crypto sector.
Right.
Just because it's, I'm more of a precious metals guy and the whole rethinking the dollar concept.
I pulled up some precious metal stuff too, so we could jump on that whenever you want.
Yeah, definitely. So let's get to that before we leave, because a lot of people who are tuning in are heavy sound money people, not too many crypto people directly in the viewership on my side, but I always comment on it. And I mentioned those 2 points earlier about how I'm skeptical on one end, but also excited about the other end. Right. And just on my part, I became aware of cryptocurrencies, back in 2012. And I started to acquire back in 2013 when things were on the cheaper end. So I've been around for a while. So I've seen the fluctuations in price, stuff like that. But my mindset has always been this, because I'm so convinced that fiat currencies will go to zero at the end of the day. Right. If you hold a crypto of any kind, you probably have a much better chance of retaining some purchasing power than you would in having your national currency, especially if you're not holding Federal Reserve notes, considering the fact that Federal Reserve notes will be the last thing standing. Everything around us will more likely crumble first. So it'll be worth your while to have something as well as metals and any type of opportunity to come about, i.e. the blockchain. You won't do completely wrong, because the Federal Reserve note will implode one day. So that's kind of been my background on it. Now, let's get into the whole precious metal side of things, because you are, you're aware of what's happening. You are a sound money gentleman as well, but you also specialize in cryptocurrency, but you're aware of sound money. So give us some chart situations with that. I mean, some guys would love to hear that.
We could jump on that. I'll screen share this thing again. And back in the day, like when I was growing up and I was learning about money, when I was growing up, I was learning. They called this diversification. You don't want all your eggs in one basket, right? Stock market for me used to be the only basket, right? But then they said, oh, then you get real estate, and then you go and start a business. They just make up stuff. Then you got your 401k, trade your life for a 4% match. Who wants to do that? Nobody can yield that gain. And so what I see now, what our opportunity is, living in 2018, blockchain protocols, assets on the blockchain is a alternative asset. Precious metals, alternative asset, right? And those are the biggest two I see that have the most upside in the near future, right? So when we pull up gold to the dollar, and I really don't like doing this because stock market is highly manipulated. But what we see is that from 98 on, if you were a gold guy, and this is long-term money, when I stretch this chart out, this is actually an 11-day chart. So every candle on that white line is actually 77 days worth of data, right? And so you see it's a long money. It's a slow chart, but right now we're actually coming up on a very, very, very interesting time. Whenever you get all three of those lines right on top of each other, that means that energy is consolidating, it's constricting, and energy does not like to be suppressed, right? That which is suppressed seeks to be released. And normally when it's released, it's going to travel in the direction from which it came. And that's going to be up and to the right. So that means gold will go higher. That's the relationship that it's on. That's called freestyling on a Fibonacci right there, where you could just draw it and that thing just fall into place. We capped out right there at the 4.2. All I did right here was I took my starting point at that one intersection and my stopping point at that little dip right there. And you can see that one run gave us all the energy we needed to fill out this whole cycle. You see that?
Yeah.
And so now we're in limbo land. We're basically between the 2.4 and the 3.2, setting up on the next move. If you wanted to ask me when that next move was going to be, this is what I do. I draw, I take this line, a cyclic line tool, and I use that as our first starting point. And then I go all the way up to this first little high point. This one right there. I could take it there. I would take it there though, because when I do that, I basically lock in all of that energy into one unit of value. That becomes our second unit. And you can see number 3 becomes this down unit right there. That means number 4 is going to have to make a decision, right? Energy does not stay the same. It either goes up or it goes down, right? So if I was a betting man, which I am, I would imagine that by there, that's what we see. That's gold 1700 by 2025. That doesn't sound like a lot, but for precious metal people, that's not a bad yield given today's numbers. But the thing is, once we break this one, and I guess, and this is where if I was actually going to do this chart, I would actually probably go down in the scale to actually break it out. Because see, now you have that one. Yeah, and that's coming back to 2025. Something's going to happen in 2025. You see how we just got that right there? I took this intersection up there, and basically this would give us our positive energy, negative energy, positive energy coming back in 2025. See that?
Yeah.
And then I could also squeeze it down to that one. And if I wanted to do that, that would actually pin us 2023. Keep in mind the next solar eclipse is 2024. And this is where you start to get into the astrology of major events, major life cycles. I do believe there is a major event poised to happen between 20 and 24 that will rock this entire financial market, much of which will contribute to gold moving much higher, right? But
okay, so I like that. I like that because I do believe as well that when you threw out the 2025 time frame, I'm thinking like, man, that's being generous.
yeah, it is.
That's been very generous, given everything that's happening right now.
Right.
With that event you're referring to, I believe it's going to be that restructuring slash greatest depression in mankind history that could be around the corner. So that I imagine being here before 2025, but you never know. So what are your thoughts based upon the charts and your awareness of cycles and energy and that lingo there is very unique for this subject matter here. Relay that into what's happening with what your expectations are with the economy and things of that nature that's coming.
Yeah, man, this is like, it's the reason the blockchain is so amazing is because it's self-selecting. You have to choose to, number one, understand it, number two, trust it, and then number three, transmit your value to it, right? But that's the opportunity. A lot of people won't do that, and a lot of people will lose everything they have as a result. This is not fear-mongering. This is reality. The dollar is designed to keep people in perpetual spending. And with the negative interest rate and even having interest rate artificially suppressed as long as they did, they basically incentivized people not to save. Right. That's why debt is at an all-time high. Savings is at an all-time low. That's what low interest rates will do. They keep printing more and more money, keep siphoning more all the way up to the top. They say, oh, inflation's only 2% this year. That's bad. Print some more money. That's horrible. That don't make no sense.
Right.
The whole world gives away 2% of its wealth every year forever. For what? To keep printing more money, to keep the machine going. Well, at some point, you go run out of tokens. You can't play another round. What happens? Pull the plug, put the money somewhere else. It has to go somewhere. Money is currency. Currency is energy, right? Your monetary unit is actually an incremental unit of your value, your energy, your manifested yield. This is what precious metals can help us with. This is what Bitcoin and blockchain protocols can help us with, because now we actually have something tangible, for our yield. You know what I'm saying? That's some Bitcoin right there, printed on a silver 1 ounce coin. These are my two values right now, right? They say if you can't hold it, it don't exist. Well, I'm holding this, and I'm holding my private keys. Saying in each hand. So that's the transmission I see. It's the greatest. The one guy said it's the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of humanity. The hidden secrets of money. And that's an amazing, resource just to get people's mind wrapped around how the world of money actually works, how money has worked over time.
Yeah, good point there. Now, one thing you just hinted on that I found to be very unique, and it's the very first time I've ever heard it mentioned. And you said that, with this wealth transfer that's happening, it'll be worth your while, as you said, to transfer your value to the blockchain. So elaborate on that a little bit more, because blockchain, your energy is the value you bring into this world, what you're compensated for. How can people bring it to the blockchain? Do you mean by, investing in or looking to utilize that technology for your business, whether it be business or just personal use or your lifestyle? What did you mean by that?
Yeah. So value, it's interesting. This is where we start to get more into the esoteric stuff. But what I learned is different people value different things for different reasons, right? So you can't box it in, right? Value is whatever you want. Cliff High said it in his interview with the Moon Girl. He's learned that the universe rewards value, whatever value is. Society pays for what society values. This is why first grade teachers make about $20,000 a year when Tom Brady can go buy any school in the country. Society values being distracted, probably because they don't have enough money. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all getting siphoned away. You give them bread and circuses. You know what I'm saying? Now we got a circus every Sunday on primetime television. And so when I say transmit your value, change your value, stop valuing a system that's broken. Stop valuing a monetary system that doesn't work for you. Start to value a network effect. Start to value the multiplier effect. Start to value Metcalfe's law. Start to value the compound interest principle. Right? Start to value some concepts and some principles that will realize your wealth before you're dead too early to bring it in, to yield it. Right? And so, you know, start to value systems that pay you for valuing it. Don't value it because they tell you to value it, and they say they'll throw you in jail if you don't value it. That should tell you right now that's a red flag. People asking about taxes. Do I value taxes? Let me ask you this: do taxes value me?
I would say that the government, in reference to taxes, do value that because Uncle Sam want to make sure he gets his portion of extortion.
Right.
As you mentioned earlier.
They didn't even ask my name. I feel like a chick. You know, they just wham bam. Thank you, man. They didn't get my name. They don't want to know my interests. They don't want to know my beliefs.
Yeah, man, and that's part of this system, man. That's the way things are. So watch this, Brandon. So let's dive a little deeper. Because I'm real curious on the crypto scene from a technical standpoint. The way that you broke it down seems very interesting. And so let's go a little bit more specific. Coinbase just recently announced a couple different coins that they're going to add. And so Coinbase is the primary gateway into this market for the most part. Right. So what are your thoughts on the addition of those 5 as well as what they have there? And what other ones could you see being utilized and needed that they would look to offer in the future?
It's a double-sided coin with Coinbase. Because, see, I was around in the days to where Coinbase was not the only gateway, so to speak. Only reason they're the only gateway right now is because all the other roads been closed down. And this is a system of design. They prefer to bottleneck society through one portal so they can tag you, identify you, and then come back for their 35%. You know, just like old buddy asked about taxes, that's the point, right? If you keep your money on Coinbase and you make more than $10,000, please believe the IRS knows exactly who you are. And they will come get their money, right? And so what they're doing now is they're opening the gates, they're widening the cattle trail to allow more cows to come through to fit in a few more silos to bring in more money, right? Coinbase was not the only platform that allowed Bitcoin to bank account transactions, but now they're the only one in the world that you could connect to your bank account through the iTunes store. This is a system of design. That is not the system that was envisioned when the first white paper was written. The first white paper talked about a decentralized, cashless, person-to-person, peer-to-peer transmission network of value. It didn't say bottleneck it through one app, add the social security number, make sure we KYC compliant. You might be a terrorist. You know what I'm saying? No. That's not the blockchain. But see, they spin it, right? And then they say, oh, now we're bringing these coins. You like these coins, right? These coins over here. Okay, come on in. Come on back. Come on. No. So it's fine. It's great that they're doing it, but it's about 15 different ways to get exposure and equity to those networks without being siphoned, extorted, and exploited in the process.
Yeah, good point there. Now, one thing that does interest me on the blockchain standpoint is the development of the atomic swap and how, eventually there'll be an opportunity for people to actually, within the blockchain itself, exchange cryptocurrencies according to market value, but out of the hands and out of the eyes of those that we've been bottlenecked into. What are your thoughts on that? And will there be an opportunity, in your opinion, to be able to incorporate fiat exchange along with that as well? Because as of now, the only way, I mean, there's other ways, I'm sure, but there's not many ways that people are aware of that you can exchange your fiat for crypto beyond Coinbase and whatever else may be out there.
It's the default path of action. So, that's why I say you have to, a lot of these protocols and processes, they're fighting for legacy status. They want to be the de facto method to do this. And so that's where the atomic swap comes in. I believe that is being built out so that Visa-like network can be implemented on the blockchain. A year ago, when Bitcoin split with Bitcoin Cash, that was the huge debate. Bitcoin is too slow. It's too clunky. You know, we can't connect 3 million merchant processors to it because, you know, you don't want to pay $20 to buy a $5 cup of coffee at Starbucks, right? And so one of the alternatives they built for it, well, they tried to do SegWit. I don't think that worked. And then they went to this. This must have been like the fallback plan. And this was the atomic swap idea that's being built out now. Well, first of all, I think if it was that great, it would have been put ahead of SegWit, but it didn't. So now it's on the plate right now. I don't think it's a bad thing. I understand what's I almost called him Satoshi, what Charlie is doing over there. And I actually listened to his speech when he talked about mining Litecoin, creating the Genesis block. You know, it was just a little classroom of him talking to all the coders. So I know he's a great mind, a great visionary, but he sold out of all of his equity in his own network a while ago. So he doesn't even own it anymore. So who's he building it for? Who is this atomic swap coming on to? What does it actually do? It sounds more like an atomic swap of currency. Well, that's a lot like the banking system right now, where I go and put $100 in the bank. They show me a number on the screen and say, hey, you got $100, but I go and actually check the bank and they've swapped it out for bonds, yields, derivatives, and all this stuff that don't have nothing to do with me.
Right.
So again, it kind of goes back to defeating the purpose of the initial value proposition that was described in the white paper. Now, is there a need for a system like the atomic swap? Yes, absolutely. But that's not the initial value proposition that Bitcoin was. So it's just a different need for a different environment. And I think people should just realize one is playing over here and one is playing over there. And you can pick whichever one you choose to value.
Yeah. Good point there. Now, as we draw towards the end of our conversation, it's been almost an hour. It's been great to chit chat and learn a lot about the blockchain as well as cryptocurrency. And I'm hoping my viewers had a chance to learn some things, and some people were, introduced to a different side other than just the negative side of cryptocurrency. And so, any questions or whatnot, feel free to chime in via chat or the phone line 833 Live RTD. We'd love to have a caller call in and ask a question if there is one worth mentioning. And so as we draw towards the end, Brandon, I want to get your thoughts on where do you see, this is all opinion based, where do you see the market cap of cryptocurrencies by the end of this year? Just based upon trends, markets, all the things you know about underground and it's coming to the surface now. What do you think the market cap will be by the end of this year?
Hold on. What is the value of it today?
The value, I think, is about $300 billion, give or take. I haven't looked at it tonight, but
I would say 1.2.
$1.2 trillion.
Correct.
That is interesting. That is very interesting. So I wouldn't doubt it, because I'm definitely believing that it will be definitely more than 800 billion like it was in December. And then the question will be, once it reaches that same number, 800 plus or more, will it then take off? Because by that time, all the institutional money, all the big heavy hands that were this part of the manipulation now that's suppressing the price, so they're getting in now, they will probably let it rise. And then at that point, we will have a new official security / financial asset that is not going anywhere from this point on. Wouldn't you agree?
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, without risk, there is no reward. And so although it's volatile, although it's risky, although the future is uncertain, please believe that it is much more highly sought after on the blockchain than it is on some Ponzi scheme, fiat, slave labor, debt paper system. And that's the opportunity for anybody listening, is to change your value to that of a trustless system. You don't need the KGB to come kick down your door and take their 35% or put you in a cage in order for the system to work. It just works. And that's the value that it has. That's the value that it offers to the world. And that's the, continuity that it brings to everybody that uses it.
Yeah, good point there. So, everybody, I appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. RTD Live Talk featuring Brandon Kelly, BK Cryptotrader. So, Brandon, as we get ready to say good tune off tonight, I would love to give you the opportunity to share where people can find you, watch you, and stay tuned what you have going on, and to be a blessing to your channel. So leave us with some parting words and some inspiration and some knowledge. I believe you dropped a lot of knowledge tonight. Feel free to take the mic.
Well, the Facebook group is the #1 Bitcoin group in the world. #1Bitcoin. And we got 25,000 people in there, all looking to make money, people helping people. You know, that's what we're getting back to. And the YouTube channel is BK Cryptotrader, Brandon Kelly Cryptotrader on YouTube. Got about 25,000 subscribers on there. And the website is bossofbitcoin.com. And, you know, and spending, I think, the last 2 or 3 years almost full force on the blockchain, from, you know, swinging my finger across the screen on TradingView just to, you know, try to get a glimpse into the market to what's, you know, these artificial intelligence ICOs and AI deep data algorithms being built out now, autonomous systems being built out now. It's amazing at how fast everything is coming together. But I think that's because the opportunity is so much greater on that side. A lot of times in my earlier videos, I would say that bridge right there is symbolic of the transition that's taken place on this side. You know, we have all the anchored in financial institutions. That's why we got this tree that anchored into the ground. You got JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Charles Schwab, Citibank, Ameritrade, you know, all these top 4 horsemen that carry 98% of the world. Over here is a land just being built. You know what I'm saying? And that bridge is called the blockchain. And all the value in the world, probably over the next couple of years, is going to cross that bridge one way or another, whether they show it to us or not, whether it's customer facing or not, whether you choose to receive some value in that network or not. This is the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of humanity. I believe Bo Peloni talks about this, the Jubilee. Yeah. This is biblical times. These are the end times. This is a revolution. This is a revelation. All revelation refers to is revealing, great revealing. All revolution talks about is the completion of one cycle, revolve, right? And then we go into the next one. I do sincerely believe that the blockchain is the future cycle that the world will be going on to. And you know, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and, you know, and to be able to take part in your community. And I thank you for, you know, the effort and ingenuity that you're doing in providing this value to the world as well.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Well, it's been great having Brandon Kelly join us this evening, and definitely enjoyed the conversation, the back and forth. So, Brandon, once again, thank you for joining us tonight on RTD Live Talk. It's been great, as well as those that participated via question-wise as whatnot. And so definitely looking forward to have you back on in the future as we get close to the end of this year and see if we touch that 1.2, man. 1.2 trillion market cap. If we do, there'll be a lot of happy people out there, I'm sure. So I'm sure if a lot of people who are not too positive and encouraging in the crypto space now, if they are able to take advantage of the low prices now and get in and learn some things, that they might be a little bit better off at the end of the year as well. So hopefully we got some people who are informed, educated, and aware of all these opportunities unfolding before their very eyes. But Brandon, once again, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
I know I speak freely. If you look around, like I'm in my office, I'm in the comfort of my home. This is where I spend about 16 hours a day, you know, trying to help people make money all over the world. So I don't want your listeners to fall under the impression that, you know, I'm not sincere or arrogant, or, you know, I don't value government. No, I don't value governing someone's mind to force their mint into a direction that does not benefit them. And so again, I am about people empowering people. And so that's what I think the blockchain is able to do. If I thought that me making $100,000 a year sitting in a cubicle and paying a 35% tax bracket was going to do that, that's what I'd still be doing. I changed my life by changing my values, and since I've changed my worth. And this is the opportunity that we all have to come together, to empower each other, to actually help each other, to step forward, you know, through the transmission of value on a trustless, decentralized network.
Right. I understand that completely, and I appreciate you for sharing that information with us. Definitely. So once again, everybody, it's been great having you guys tune in tonight with my guest, Brandon Kelly, BK Cryptotrader. It's been fun as always having a chance to speak with a guest as well as to have some interaction from the chat section. Everybody enjoy your night. I will see you guys tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Let's get together again tomorrow night and chit chat on. I'm also interested in getting thoughts on the whole 401k video I did yesterday.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so definitely, you did you get a chance to check that out? Or
yeah, the 40-year was a 40-year mistake.
Yeah, man, the idea, I came across that information. You know, I was always skeptical of that as well. But yet, I read Andy Tanner's book a while back, and he broke down some of those details, and I forgot about it. But when I saw those articles, and I saw Robert Kiyosaki's follow-up article, I'm like, man, let me go ahead and do a video on that real quick. And so, a lot of people, once again, they hear, they see it, they know something ain't right, but they don't bother to do any research for themselves. So they'll just say, oh man, this guy's nothing. But I'm like, hey, it's your money, it's your future. Whatever works best for you. We'll find out in the end how this all pans out. But yeah, that was fun, man. But once again, everybody, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you, sir.